Welcome to the G-Spot.
Five, four, three, two, one.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Dynamic GT League G-Spot, Dgt-G-Spot. Can you find it? Can you find it? Keep looking, keep looking, keep looking. No, you've not found it. Well, you found something. Okay, so we're going to keep taking the piss about Ray having 4 kids already and twins on the way. That's what all those double entendres about. Okay, what's the G-Spot all about? Well, it's where we get to have a look at the weird and wonderful things that happen in Dynamic GT League races. And also, if things are reported, we can have a look at them, check them over from a commentator's perspective, unless otherwise stated. Excuse me. Anything you want to add on that, Ray? No.
Yeah, it was for Gary's shit driving.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Just to confirm it for Gary's missus, it was because of Gary's shit driving. Now, for anyone watching this on the day that it's been published,
he wants to be a driving instructor. Oh fuck!
yeah. Well, let's hope it doesn't go into virtual reality driving. Although I don't think that's far away, honestly. I said to SGP, I don't know, probably 5-6 years ago, maybe a little longer. Said that we can't be far away from people learning to drive on VR before, like, having to do like a VR course before they can actually go and learn in a real car, just because of like making things safer.
You can do that in trucks already.
Yeah, and how many times do you crash? And you've been driving how many years?
Well, it's not my fault the AI doesn't see a big truck coming through a red light.
Well, right, so the big truck going through the red light. Yeah. Anyway, I forgot what else I was going to mention then. Oh, well, right, well, yeah.
You were talking about virtual reality and driving. Yeah,
my mind's gone blank now. So I guess yes, that was it. For anyone that is watching this on the day of release, you'll realise that it's not Monday that this has been released, because we're not going to release them on Mondays anymore. We're going to release them on a different day. So
it's Tuesday.
You'll say, I'm going to put it on Wednesday now. Or have you got a record somewhere that I'd said it'll be a Tuesday?
No, I'm just saying it's Tuesday to mess up with people when they think it's Wednesday and Thursday.
All right, we'll do it Friday then. Okay, so
yeah, free win for the race.
Yeah.
If I'm behind you at the end, can I go first?
Well, yeah. I'd have been interested to see if that now.
Well, I don't think that's the right thing to say.
Well, it's an interesting thing you say, right? Did you hear what Jimmy said? You did. You clearly, yeah. Right. So for anyone that doesn't know, during the last race, SGP and Jimmy are both on fuel saving strategy, doing one stop, and they're taking the piss, saying that they're on for the win. And then Jimmy says, "SGP, if on the last lap you're first and I'm second, do you reckon you could let me through to win?" I'm thinking, you can fuck right off. But then I was also thinking, actually, you know what? That might not be a bad idea, because then Jimmy can also say to Rich, I've got one more win than you.
Has it? You know Rich has one?
Dirties, though. Dirties don't count.
He actually, I was live streaming, and he came in to tell me. He goes, I've won a race. So that pal hasn't got more wins than me.
Yeah. Dirties don't count. Ask Jimmy.
Yes, they do.
Well, they're just a brown stain on the car. But yeah, so I mean, thankfully that situation never occurred. I'm not sure how I would have felt about that, to be honest. But then anything that takes points away from SGP, from my perspective, isn't a bad thing, considering he won the last championship. But interestingly, though, I mean, to be honest, I think that was all in jest. I don't think Jimmy would want to win that way. But sometimes we do have to consider what people do say, because there'll be scenario, like we've said before, if someone goes, oh, shit, then we know they've fucked up and they shouldn't be then making an overtake because they've just let everybody know they've fucked up. So sometimes you have to be careful about what you say.
Yep.
Right, shall we crack on with some of these G's?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give us a quick little... I'll give us a countdown in a moment once I've got the video in the right spot. Working on my...
Is it in the G-Spot? Yeah.
Not
What
yet.
do you-
Not yet. Nearly.
What are you doing, checking for change?
Okay, I'm nearly there. Oh. Okay, so let's get ready. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. So G1 race 2, Gary making all the moves. Now, this was the opening lap of the race. Gary starts last, and he has a little bit of... I don't think Connor knew that Gary had a bit of an overlap there. But I'm interested to see what happens down at this first chicane. Connor gets a bit deep. Gary's got it slowed down quite a nice bit. Messy ahead. Connor's out wide. Yeah, not bad. Gary, though, has just gone from 11th to 7th in one corner. Can he do anything else about it? Because he's got a good run. So this is brilliant stuff from Gary at the moment. Now he's up to 6th. SRI just ahead. Twilight breaking the slipstream ahead. Now, is he going to go for it? He must be thinking about it, or he's definitely thinking about it. Thinks better of it. Leaves a bit of space on the apex. Go a bit wobbly on the curb. A bit wide. Oh, no, oh dear. And he goes from 11th to 11th. So...
That was short-lived.
It was, wasn't it? Now, what I will say is, Gary, you had a brilliant bit of a race there. I don't know how the next 39.30 seconds, like 39 minutes, 30 seconds went. But that bit down one of those straights was really, really good. Just massively unfortunate that it ended the way it did.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
He must have went from a high to depressed.
Oh, yeah.
That must have shocked his body.
Yeah, and also I only thought it was right that the first G-Spot of 2023 was started off with Gary's shit driving. I don't mean that. To be honest, you know what? I hadn't even thought about the fact that Gary was the first one on there. He's only first on there because it was the first lap. And I put it on there because it was actually really, really good driving. He just then got really unlucky. So yeah, and to be honest, Dave got unlucky as well because he had a spin in pretty much exactly the same way. But yeah, so welcome to the G-Spot. Should we move on to the next one quickly? This hole's getting deeper.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at the next one in 3, 2, 1, let's go. G2, race 2, anything you can do, I can do too. So what have we got here? SGP in his fuel-saving orange livery, up alongside Twilight. So this was also lap 1. Jason getting in on the action there, giving Twilight a little bit of a bump draft, getting up alongside SGP. And then Twilight and SGP just decide to go and dip it in the gravel. Probably the least dramatic double car in a gravel situation I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, that would just have been dirty air and cold tyres, maybe.
Or dirty side of the track.
Yeah, that as well, sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, both of them off. Now SGP, I believe, thinks that was one of the reasons why he didn't win the race. would have played a big factor. Maybe that's why he went for the one stop, but it would have been interesting to see what he could have done from there had he pushed it really hard. Okay, should we move on to the next one?
Yep.
Now, if you want to jump in on this one at any point, Ray, feel free, because I think you'll like this one. Okay, let's get ready. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. G3, race 2, clever Connor. Now, Connor, you're not clever, you're a cunt. No, I'm joking. This is so clever from Connor. He started this lap with 5 cars behind him, ready to pounce. 4 cars behind him, ready to pounce. And this is how Connor holds on. He was slipstreaming Dave. Now he gives the slipstream to Steve. Once Steve starts getting ahead of Dave, moves back, gives it back to Dave. Doesn't give it to Art Pal or Demon R. Gives it Dave and manages to help Dave stay into that position, keeping Demon R and Steve F1 further back. But that's not the end of it. On to the next straight. Dave the Harper's in the slipstream once again. And Steve F1 thinks, I've got to run on Dave the Harp. And Connor's saying, no, you haven't. And Demon R has got a bit of a run. Gets some slipstream, but as he gets closer, no, I'm going to share it elsewhere. And then he's into the corner. Now, things get really close here. But luckily for Connor, even with a bit of a wobble, he had a really good exit over Dave. Now, Dave's going to get very close up here. But once again, Connor has positioned his car perfectly that no one is benefiting from his slipstream. He goes for the kink. He's sort of giving Dave the slipstream here and then shares it to a car that's further back. And then Dave, I think, just got a little bit late on the brakes, wobble in the corner. And this then does allow Connor to break away a little bit. Because I think with Dave having to sort of rectify himself there, it slowed down the 3 behind him. But again, we've got another straight here where there is a risk for Connor, because Dave's going to get closer. The problem is, for anyone that's going to try and overtake Dave, Connor might give him a bit of slipstream, but is then going to give it someone else. But on this occasion, he just lets Dave have the slipstream. But then Connor, through the Porsche curves, is quicker than Dave, and he manages to open the gap up from here. Yeah, Dave got a bit wide there, so he's able to open the gap up now. The 3 guys that had pitted the lap before are now sort of stuck a little bit behind Dave. Connor, does he peel into the pits? No, he doesn't. He carries on. So although it's now got close again, Connor's really quick through the final chicanes and opens that gap up once again. That for me is, I mean, look at the gap he's created there. That for me is proper clever driving.
Yeah, up there for thinking, down there for dancing.
I thought you were going to say down there for drinking. If you're drinking from down there, then something's going wrong. But no, I've got to say,
I said dancing, not drinking.
I know. I thought he was going to say drinking. But yeah, I mean, fair play to Connor. That's
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's somebody using their brain to not get overtaken. That was great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed watching it.
I didn't. But no, to be fair, at the moment, while I was in that battle, I could see what he was doing. I was thinking, you bastard. But, to be fair, that's on me, Steve F1 and Art Pal. If we'd have bump drafted Dave the Harp, we would then have had a better chance to overtake Dave and Connor. But we weren't thinking that. We were thinking about battling each other and just getting past Dave. So we approached it the wrong way. But for Connor to go down the 3 Mulsanne straights and the rest of the lap, holding on to the lead, yeah, that's proper. That's driving in your mirrors. And so, like, even when Dave got a bit hot on the brakes into Indianapolis, you could tell Connor was aware of what was happening because he was able to leave Dave the space. So, yeah, proper good driving there from Connor. And the thing is...
Yeah, it was fantastic. Fantastic to watch, and how he was positioning his car, especially when you said where he was positioning it, where nobody was gaining on the slipstream. That was pretty good.
Yeah, Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. It wasn't just sharing it out willy-nilly. He was giving it to someone who was a bit further back, and as soon as they'd got into a better position, gave it someone else. So, yeah. Now, I will admit, one of the reasons why I've been calling him a cunt during this is because literally just before recording this, he's messaged me on Facebook saying, good race on Thursday. I think, fuck off, you bastard. But no, to be fair, I have been meaning to message him because, yeah. But, I mean, I could have messaged him, but he's featured on the G-Spot for something really, really good there. Really clever racing.
A scow's using his noggin for once.
One problem is not a Scouser.
Yes, he is. You heard him talk.
He's a Geordie. So you, oh shit, yeah, he is. Dave's the Scouser. Connor's a Geordie.
I thought it was the same fucking thing. Oh well.
Okay, man. Bob, no, definitely not.
All right, why are you, man?
Yeah. Fucking hell, why I not calm down? Right, okay. Should we move on to the next one, seeing as your hole's getting deeper? Okay, on to the next one in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Okay, G4 Race 2, Art Pal's Fuel Woes. Now, this is Art Pal into the last few corners, and you can see on the fuel gauge he has got nothing. There's nothing in there, really. Demon Arkle steaming through. Bit questionable. But it is one of the reasons why I'm showing this. So Art Pal, a bit tricky. So this was the view from me. And from that view, it doesn't look that bad. From the other view, it kind of does look a bit bad. Now, two things I will say about this, because I know you got a view and got an opinion, but there's two things I'm going to say about this right before you comment. Number one, heading into the final 4 corners, Art Pal did say, I'm going to run out of fuel. Now, it wasn't a, oh no, I might run out of fuel. It was a, I am going to run out of fuel. So I was aware that at some point in those 4 corners, Art Pal might run out of fuel. And if he does, the last thing I want to do is just hit him up the arse, because, yeah, that wouldn't be good. So what I've done is, through the first chicane, I've taken a line, and then I have perceived Art Pal's movement to the right a little bit, being a I'm out of fuel now situation. Hang on, I'm not finished. I'm not finished.
You never had that slowed down. You nearly took him off the road.
I went for the move, and at the time I did say, oh shit, went in a bit deep there. And in the middle of the corner, or sort of coming out of the corner, I looked in my mirror, and Art Pal was out of fuel, going shit slow. And I did say to him, I said, I would slow down and wait for you, but you're out of fuel. And I carried on. So slowing down, yeah, I mean, he could have reported it. Now, I could have reported it.
I think you should.
Well, it's too fucking late now, mate.
No, it's not. It's 12 o'clock tonight.
Fuck off. Anything that is seen in the G-Spot is not allowed to be used to report anything from us. We had that agreement last year. You might not remember it. I do. But no, I'm not fucking reported it. But no, I mean, yeah. Had he not been out of fuel, then yeah, I think I'd have waited for him. But at the time, I did view it as I was avoiding a car that was out of fuel, while also attempting an overtake.
I thought you overtake it there.
Yeah, it was not my best. But that does bring us on to the next G.
Where's Art Pal in my friends list? Let's message him.
Fuck off. Hey, that would be a gross misconduct of duties.
Okay. Who's going to sack me?
Well, it could just be rejected by the stewards. Yeah. Right. Anyway, fucker. Let's get on to the one that has been reported, because this, I think, is a bit more interesting. So you ready? Now,
I don't know. Once I've seen it, I'll decide what one was interesting.
okay. I'm going to say we'll have a look at this 1, 3, 2, 1, go. Then I'll do the intro for this. But then we won't look at the footage. We'll get on to what has been reported. So let's get ready in 3, 2, 1, let's go. G5, Race 2, report by Twilight. So, Ray, would you like to let everybody know what Twilight has reported?
Yeah, Rebecca would like to report herself last lap, last chicane. I think I went in too fast and cut a lot of the second part of the chicane, so not the first chicane, the second chicane I'm gathering. And so catching Art Pal on the line and don't think it's fair. He's too honest. Oh, sorry, she's too honest.
Well, let's have a look, shall we then? So,
yep.
Let's get ready in 3, 2, 1, let's go. So, Twilight then coming through the final 4 corners. First chicane fine, second chicane, goes in deep, cuts the corner, and sneaks past Art Pal right on the line and takes the position. We'll go back and have another look at this. As I mentioned, Twilight does go through the first chicane absolutely fine. He misses the apex of the first part of the second chicane, and does end up realising that he needs to sort of cut the corner. So he is fully off the track. Now, just quickly show there. Yep, definitely off the track. That sausage is massive. Now he is full throttle from this point on as well, and manages to get past Art Pal. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play this bit in slow motion, because look at how close this actually is. Okay, so as we click forward, look at the timing tower on the left at when Twilight's name goes above Art Pal's, and when they then have a flag next to their name. So it's getting closer, it's getting closer, it's getting closer, it's getting closer.
Art Pal looks over the line already.
Ignore the line, okay? I'll get onto that in a moment. So Twilight is now ahead, and then it's 1 or 2, I think it's 2 frames. You ready? 1 and 2. So 2 frames is then got the checkered flag. Now those 2 frames is effectively, it's not even 0.002 of a second, okay? Because we're talking 50 frames a second, and it's 2 frames. But anyway, so it is literally is a head flag. Now you mentioned about the line. I looked into this. Although the line is there, it isn't actually the line that is the finish line. It's in line with where it's one of 2 things.
Gantry.
It's either in line with the gantry where the flag's being waved, or the transponders in the car is further back in the car. It's not at the front. It's possible that although you could have the front half of the car or front third of the car over the line, if the transponder is like behind the driver, then you're not technically crossed the line until that has passed. So there is a bit of a difference in that, but I did have a look into it about the finish line. We're there.
Oh, stop. Sorry, I'm talking to myself.
Sorry, there's a hole in the wall where in real life it would have a laser or the detector for the transponders.
How long is Le Mans race? Because they've got 2 different on a pit wall. Even though they've got the line on one side of the line, it says circuit 24 hours, Du Mans, 13,629 kilometers, and on the other side it says circuit Bugatti Le Mans that's got to be 14,185 kilometers.
The Bugatti the Bugatti circuit is a short circuit of Le Mans.
And I was just wondering if it took the difference of them into account of going over the line. I just seen that there. Oh, that was interesting to see that. I was like, oh, what there? Is it something to do with these two different things? But obviously not.
No. So with this, I mean, it's one of the things the stewards will sort of look at it, I would guess, and they would have to. Well, I mean, there's no doubt that Twilight cut the corner. I'm just looking at. Okay, so yeah, the thing that you were looking at, the circ with the two different sort of layouts and the distances. Yeah, with the black diamond you can see in the wall, that's the hole for the transponders. But if you look a bit further on, there's also two holes where in the Rolex side, which are quite close to the gantry. So, but yeah. Okay, so as for this incident, it's an interesting one because Twilight's definitely cut the corner. The question then would be, has that cutting of the corner gained him the advantage to then make the overtake?
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know.
I don't know. But
I think his car wouldn't. It'd be kind of unstable, and he wouldn't get it on the power. I don't look too much at the
data
gauges of that. Yeah.
I mean, this thing we're only looking at this from a couple of video clips. Nothing like the stewards would look at it.
Plus, the car would be bouncing about, so it'd be like, do I get on the throttle? Do I not get on the throttle? So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what the stewards think of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an easy one.
Nah.
I mean, I was thinking about this and, okay, what could the potential outcomes be? Okay, no further action. Or, okay, yeah, it's unfair. Well, if it's unfair, then...
That pal's no fuel, so how can we determine it's how can they determine it's unfair where that pal's speed's going to be far less than what Twilight can be?
Well, this is the thing. Bear in mind, Twilight only takes the lead 2 frames ahead of Art Pal, which is a fraction of a second. So that's where for me it's like, okay, if Twilight had crossed the line 2 seconds ahead of Art Pal, then I'd probably look at it and go, well, I don't think he's gained that. That's not the reason he's got ahead, because it's a couple of seconds up the road. But with this being that close, could it be the reason he's got ahead? I don't know.
It could just be the timing of Art Pal losing fuel as well. The stewards have got a lot of work to do.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a tricky one. I mean, is there the possible? I mean, here's a question for you. If the stewards decided, okay, you know what, it may be a bit unfair, but I don't know if it's worthy of a penalty. Could they potentially go, the correct result would be Art Pal in 4th and Twilight in 5th, and revert their positions?
No, because it's on championship. It goes against your championship points.
Correct answer.
What?
I said correct answer.
I know it's the correct answer.
Well, sometimes you give answers that aren't correct, but no, it is the correct answer. As much as anybody may think, oh, I'll just swap the positions round. there isn't anything in our rules that allows us to do that. I mean, it's because I know I looked at this when I was recording. I was thinking, okay, if I thought it was potentially a bit unfair, and that's the reason Twilight's got ahead, it'd be nice to be able to go, yeah, just swap the positions back around. That's how this should have been. But that's not in our rules to allow us to do that. And should it be in our rules to allow us to do that? I'm going to say no, because there'd be so many other situations where people would go, or people could say, well, those should be switched around, or basically it could be abused, and not just by any driver. It could be abused by, not abused, but it could be misused by the stewards. Because, I mean, let's say, for example, I mean, if there was another car behind Twilight here, or there was other factors, how much of a knock-on effect does one thing have? Yeah, so you could end up saying, oh yeah, we'll just swap those positions around. I mean, it's not like in our league races, the drivers can swap their positions on track at the time. Like, if you hit someone off, that's one of our rules, you wait for them, you let them through, you won't get a penalty unless it's something extremely severe.
Yeah, and that rule says for the drivers to do that
during the race. Yeah.
During the racing on a card, if they feel that they have done it, if they feel they have done it and they get reported, then the steward kind of step in. So it's let's drivers try to be a wee bit honest among each other, and it gains a little bit of respect within each other.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, it's an interesting one. I mean, you say that, fair play to Twilight for reporting this. I mean, it's an unusual one. You made me look bad, you fucker, but don't worry about it. But no, I mean, I can understand why Twilight has perhaps looked at this and thought, I don't know if that is fair of what I've done there. And to be honest, without looking at it in loads more data, it is difficult to know for certain. So this will be one that will be updated once the stewards have had a look at it. Because it'll be interesting to see what, as a collective, they think. Anything else to add on that one?
No.
Okay.
I think it's going to be hard for the stewards. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Okay, so the stewarding decision on the screen. Before I do comment on it, I will say that a lot of time and effort is put into looking into every situation that is reported. So although the steward's view and the verdict here may be sort of quite short and simplistic, it is only the tip of the iceberg as to how much the stewards looked into this decision and any others that we have to. Okay, so the steward's view. Twilight makes a small mistake and goes slightly deep into the final chicane, driving just to the right of the sausage curb. At the finish line, he beats Artbound, who has run out of fuel. The steward's verdict is no penalty. It's possible Twilight may have been slower through the final corner despite the slight cut. So the stewards feel there are too many variables to be certain that he gained any advantage. Okay, let's get back to the G. Okay, so let me get ready for the next clip. It's taking its time. Okay, so we've got one more thing to take a look at. So, knackered, hungry as well.
Ready when you are.
Yeah, you're knackered and all. Okay, so let's get ready in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Gee whiz, silly Connor. Now we're going to have a look from Dave the Harp here as he's heading into the pit lane and sees a car appearing in the pit lane from a point that you would not normally see a car entering the pit lane. I mean, imagine driving down the pit lane and seeing a car coming from the right-hand side. But anyway, so Connor runs rather wide actually on the exit of the Porsche curves. Now, does that play a factor? I don't know. Into the pit lane he goes, and way late on the brakes, realises it, hits the wall, nothing he can do, tries to get going, spins it around, then gets tagged. Thankfully that tag didn't cause him any damage, and into the pits he goes. So yeah, what do you reckon of that one then, Ray?
That was interesting to watch. Did he turn right, or did when he hit the wall it turned right?
It's hard to say, isn't it? I think.
Oh, he turned right. He turned right. I went back and looked. His wee marker goes to the right before he hits the wall.
I'm thinking that might have been a oh shit moment. Because I don't know. If I remember rightly, the last time Jimmy did that there, he forgot where the game takes over, and he thought the game would take over before that. And I'm wondering if that's what Connor's thought.
I think he's seen the yellow marker on the first wall and went to turn thinking that's where I turn, and it's to come into the wall.
Well, either way, as good as Connor's driving was earlier on the main straights, keeping people behind him for a lap, that was not so good in the pit lane.
That's the only reason you put that on.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to knock them down, you've got to pick them up first. But no, I mean, to be fair, it can happen to anybody. Just unfortunately, it happened to Connor on this occasion.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. I would like to know Connor's understanding of it, our thoughts, or why it happened.
Yeah, maybe we'll know if he watches this when he lets us know. Right, I don't think there was anything else for us to have a look at or to mention. So I think we're done.
Yeah, just remember, G-Spot isn't out on Mondays.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And there may also not always be a G-Spot one.
Yeah, and just as I'm saying that, I'm thinking, well, they're going to know it's not out on a Monday if they're not watching it.
That's true. On a Monday, he's not going to be there. But yeah, we'll see how it goes with doing it on a different day. Right, Ray, thank you very much for joining us on the G-Spot.
No worries.
And thanks for everyone for listening. And feel free to check us out next week to see what happens in the wonderful world of Dynamic GT League. Bye.
Goodbye.